Hello, welcome to us, Wargamer. I'm Rod Burgundy, and I'm joined today by Mr. Owen Jackson for the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. Hello, Owen. How are you?
I'm okay. Yeah, I think me talking to you on the internet is probably one of the things that I do most in life at the moment, and I enjoy it most. What is best in life? Talking to Ron on the internet. Ron J.
Ronald J. Trump.
That's the one.
Yeah, my favourite. That's me. That's my parody account for anyone who isn't aware of my parody account. Who today tweeted, I think there's a hate campaign starting towards me from Ronald J. Trump. He tweeted today, everything I say is right if you don't agree with me. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that sentence. It's not, you're not upsetting me. I am right. So fuck you. Like, that's fine. But you're doing well?
Yeah, I think so. I played quite a lot of Warhammer. Stayed up too late a few times, but can't complain, Rob. The whole of the UK is opening up today, so we can all go and stand and shiver in beer gardens across the country with our very empty wallets, because GW keep releasing loads of stuff that we all want to buy, right? There's loads of things going on at the moment.
Loads and loads of stuff, loads to talk about. But I mean, as a vegetarian and also as someone who doesn't drink, I need to ask you this question. Like, how do you know that someone has bought Cursed City over the weekend?
Just go on to any...
They'll fucking tell you. They'll fucking tell you. Yeah? They'll message you. They'll tweet you. They'll fucking ring you. They'll tell you they bought Cursed City. That's...
Yeah, you're quite anti-Cursed City here, aren't you, Rob?
I'm not. The models are cool. I think 125 quid for a board game is a lot. I think if you say to yourself, I don't know, it feels like it's a lot. It's kind of where I'm at in my head at the moment. But anyway, I'm not anti it. I think, yeah, it sounds like a lot when people are like, it's 125. I'm like, woo! Anyway, thank you to in the chat. Where is it? I've just missed it. To Major Sockbert for donating £10 to the show. Gorgeous. And also Stu Redacted. Thanks for resubscribing. But thanks very much to you gorgeous man, Majos. That's really lovely. No, I'm not anti it. You've bought it, right? That was going to be my next question. You've bought it. Have you got the models and started building them?
No, I haven't received it yet from Games Workshop. I bought it direct. So I have a key, which is supposedly something cool to have, but I don't have anything in my possession. And I've got enough stuff to be getting on with anyway. I need to build, probably, like, my hobby focus needs to be building and painting all the Mortek Guard I've got. So, yeah, when it comes, I think I'll do something. But, yeah, I kind of don't really need to play the game or look at the miniatures, because if you just look at the internet over the weekend, you know everything that you ever need to know about Cursed City, right?
Yeah, I already know. I already know it's great fun, and I've seen every paint scheme available. It feels like I'm the last...
You're out on your own, Mark.
Yeah, I'm the last punter of a really bow-legged whore, basically, and I don't want to be a part of that process. That was descriptive. I'm proud of myself. Ron J. Burgundy, get on me about that one. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about some events. There hasn't been many events over the weekend, but we're going to be talking about events that have done. Today we're going to be talking about that and events coming up, and also events in general, because I kind of asked a big question yesterday, talking about start times, and we'll talk about a load of different stuff. Next week, we're going to deep dive some stats. Big shout out to the stats input team who've been putting loads of stuff in, and then we're going to be looking at some deep dive stats next week, which will be really cool as more and more events happen up. Yeah, let us know in the chat whether you're a 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. squad. Absolutely. So, Owen, events at the weekend, is that where we're starting, I think?
Yeah, I mean, there is one in the chat which we haven't got the information on, but I think we should shout him out. This is Major Sockbert, who just gave us our lovely £10 donation.
Oh,
he won his first ever event at the weekend with OBR and no catapults.
Really?
So he's obviously a fine gentleman.
Where was this?
I'm not sure. I would say from his name, it sounds Scandinavian. But yeah, if Major Sockbert can send us the information on that, I'd love to see those Bone Reapers doing well, because they're a fun and fair army, I believe.
They're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well done. Well done to him. But yeah, we had some bits and bobs going on over the weekend. We had a couple of tournaments. There were some tournaments in Australia that I looked up. I think Pat Carter took out a tournament with the Fire Slayers, but I think our main focus is going to be on some of the TTS stuff that was going down, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, in Canberra, Majors, please do send us the info. That would be super sweet. There's a load of TTS stuff happening at the weekend. Where did Pat win? Was that down? That wasn't in Canberra, was it? Would that have been down with the Bendigo boys, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a measured gaming event. I'm pretty sure I saw Gemma came in the top 5 again. There is some stuff on Twitter if people want to dig into that.
I missed the whole thing.
Yeah, it was on Down Under pairings, but a lot of the lists, all the top 5 lists were hidden, so there wasn't really much to talk about there. So I figured,
then we're not going to fucking read them. In Toowoomba. Oh, lovely! Fucking hope there's not another fucking rainstorm in Toowoomba. Amazing. Toowoomba's great. And that's where Gemma and them lot live. So that's where Gemma and Mick and the lads live. So all the failed charge guys live around there. Okay. The TTS event that we covered, first one, Grand Hammer Finals, that we covered on Saturday, right, Owen?
Yes, yeah, that's right. So I did my customary get knocked out in the first round so I could come and do some coverage with you. And we had a great day, didn't we? There was so much to talk about. There was some, obviously the hero of the ogre community, getting loads in Stuart, getting loads out of that Winterbite list. We had Alex Tubb, the headline. Alex Tubb won, Tubb 93. He's very sort of played a lot of games on TTS, so obviously all that practice paid off. So we had a very razor sharp, top tier kind of current list taking it out, and then you had Stuart with a list that stole everyone's hearts, and he put together some excellent plays the weekend. And then in third place was Stephen Follows, always does well. But I think that's one of his first podiums in a while with the Tzeentch Archaon hosts Arcanum build. That's who I got knocked out by in the quarters. So it was a fun day though, right? We saw lots of good play and lots of interesting combos and stuff, and it was just really good to see a good book in the Ogre Moor tribes. I think it is a good book, but somebody getting a load out of a rather underused sub-faction. Although saying that, I remember Dunga's Rob. Wasn't Nikos? Is Nikos going to take credit here for being the Warhammer sort of
edgelord hipster that he is?
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
First ager. Yeah, I think he was running Dungas all the way back at Sheffield Slaughter. But he was going more Mournfang heavy and not making much. He did have some Icefall Yetis. Really, if we talk about Stuart's list for a moment, it's the combination of the command ability that you really get. Winterbite, the kind of like battle trait where it's -1 to hit in your territory is obviously good from shooting. From shooting is really good, and then being able to double that up with the -1 to hit naturally for Yetis in close combat, and then double that up with Billowing Ash coming off of the fire belly, so it's another -1 to hit aura, so you can have the Yetis being -2 to hit, which is really neat because they don't have an armor save. They've got a 6-up armor save. But it's the command ability that they've got that's really key. Wholly within 18 inches of a hero, and they can strike first, and it's in either combat phase, so it's really good as a defensive unit. So like they charge you, you're like, cool, I'm going to activate with all of these Yetis first, and it's every Yeti unit wholly within 18, and then they can pile in and attack 6 inches. So you can start within that 18, but then you can really get quite aggressively into your opponent. And I guess it's basically an always strikes first as long as you got a CP. And that we know how strong that is, right? You can't charge the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. You can't charge the Keeper of Secrets. We've had example. You can't charge the Fire Slayer block. We have examples of that time and time again where the ability for you to just not be able to charge your opponent is significant. Unless you just sling a mental Archaon buff to high heaven right in their face. That normally changes things. But yeah, that was, I would say that's the key element of how it worked, right?
Yeah, and it's a funny one as well. I watched back the coverage from the first game, obviously, because I was playing at the time, and that was a really interesting game between the big war army of Wurzel versus the Gutsman's Winterbite. And it's not always strike first, but like as you made reference to, as a prelude to the Huracan Lumineth Realm Lords, it's like always tag first, always annoy first. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's not using that 6-inch pile. Because you're not going to smash stuff with MSU units of Yetis. You're going to block lanes. You're going to tag things.
Which was actually how the first game went down. If you go back and watch, actually, the big war with the big bricks of 30 Uruk boys were not Ard boys, the Savage Uruk boys. They were so like it was so key in just taking a unit of 3 and just pin blocking them in so that their next movement phase they weren't really going anywhere. And like you said, in the pile-in activation wars that we're about to enter with the Lumineth Realm Lords, I think that's a great series of games to go back and watch, because you can be like, okay, I really understand what I might see if I do come up against things like Wind Chargers. But you can do the same thing with Wind Chargers. You could do them also with a Hurricane Mage. You could also do it with Severith. Yeah, you can do it with Severith because he's Hurricane. So there's going to be stuff in there, I think. But yeah.
On that note, Rob, I just need to make reference to Vince last week. I don't know if many of the viewers have watched Warhammer Weekly from last week, but he came up with. I mean, I'm sure you've watched a lot of Vince, but he came up with possibly the most perfect thing he's ever said, because he said that the new Wind Chargers, we should call them Wind Chargers, because they give the D to you.
Yeah. I'll take that. That's good. Yeah.
It was beautiful. But yeah, that taggy, retreaty, and you get it with Sisters of Slaughter as well, obviously, in Daughters of Kane and things like that. That 6-inch pile-in, taggy, skirmishy, annoying, whilst you're then, they can, sit. You can have your other stuff sat behind, or you can just keep your opponent annoyed. Like, obviously, the turn roll did benefit Stuart in round 1 on Saturday. But the way that when you look at that as an outsider, you've got these 2 huge bricks of like orcs with a big rock monster and loads of other things, and then you've just got these little units and you just look to yourself like, how can that ogre player win? And as an example of using your small amount of assets really well. I think it's pretty much a masterclass, that game 1 from Stuart. So yeah, I would implore all viewers to go away and watch those games. There's some really good Warhammer played on Saturday, and really, really enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, really, really, really good. But the win, and Tubbs is in the chat now, excellent play by Tubbs, who said he's not going to play this anymore because it's too strong, his exact words. So he's in the chat. They're all on YouTube, Hexneck, if you want to go watch them, or you can watch them back on Twitch as a VOD. Either of those two are available. Let's talk about what was in the Daughters of Kane list. And me and Owen talking about this before the show. This is going to be a Daughters of Kane list, or elements like this Daughters of Kane list are something you're going to see time and time and time again. As we go back to real-life tournaments, as you look at TTS events, it's going to happen all of the time. So this is Calibron, Daughters of Kane. So this is Bloodwrack Shrine, Hag Queen, Morathi Kane. Now, we'll talk about everything else in a minute, but really the key element here, Morathi Kane and 15 Bloodstalkers. That's the kind of like big takeaway. And you might not always see it in Calibron, you probably will see it oftentimes in Calibron, but this is the combo, and maybe you won't see 15 Bloodstalkers, maybe you see 10, maybe you see 20, but you're definitely going to see some. And this is the combo. It's shoot. The command ability from Morathi is a unit wholly within 24 inches can fight in the hero phase or shoot in the hero phase. And that becomes phenomenal. Now, it's a 1,000-point combination, Owen. Morathi. And Morathi's not only doing that. She's also casting spells. She's also an incredible unit in close combat, unless she's like -2 to hit. Then she can't even do a Yeti's worth of damage. She can barely. But it's that command ability, right? Wholly within 24 inches, shoot again. So that 15 Bloodstalkers, they shoot 30 shots. 3s, rend 1, damage 1. Any 6s to hit cause a mortal wound. So basically, when you're using that CP to shoot in the hero phase and then shoot in the shooting phase, you're generating 60 shots a turn. It's insane, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to just check it. We'll do it live. I just wanted to check it. That I have seen quite a few lists, and I've played against lists which go for 2 times 10. If I'm not mistaken, you can with the right amount of CP, you can shoot both units in the hero phase. It's probably got the usual restriction of not being able to double tap one singular unit. If this model is on the battlefield, you can use this command ability in your hero phase. If you do so, pick one friendly unit, shoot or fight. You cannot use this command ability more than once in the same phase. Okay, that's good. I'm glad that they've put that in there. So you can't double tap 2 units, for example. But even so, yeah, thanks, Tubbs. I just noticed that in the chat. Even so, you're right. I mean, it's effectively much like there was quite a few conversations around that over the weekend. Archeon going twice is effectively 1,600 points. So if you think about it, if you're shooting twice with that unit, then you're getting 840 points worth of output for 470, because it's 420 for the 15 stalkers and then 50 points for the CP. And the fact it's the range as well. I mean, most The maximum deployment distance that were apart from each other are 24. So if somebody deploys on the line and then the stalkers go down on the line, you could pick something off in the hero phase and then 32 inches because they've got an 8-inch move. It's pretty. People talked about Kurnoffs and like these new ballistas, and anything that can shoot 30 inches is pretty powerful. But yeah, it's a high quality attack as well, right? Threes,
and it's not once per battle, right? It's 60 shots over the court, like threes, rend 1, damage 1. Like it's significant, and something that everyone needs to be conscious of. Like we talk about kind of things like Rain of Stars coming out of Stardrake, or Comet's Call coming out from Croak, or like any of the slams really, or those global AoE damage. And the ability to snipe out characters. Or, another good example obviously would be LRL in the Sentinels. However, these, it's 60 shots. These can be like, I'm 100% loading this into your character, and probably your character's going down your little 5-wound hero. Or, this is 60 shots, which is going to do very, very well into any of your other units. And also there's mortal wounds on top. Like, it's a good weight of dice is the point. Yeah, like it's a lot of shots. So, with things like the Sentinels, it's more elite. With things like Comet's Call, it's more elite. So, you're definitely doing mortal wounds and you're definitely doing them like at quite a range. But this is also a lot of shots. And it's also like, it's 1,000 points for it, but you are also getting Morathi as the combat monster as part of that piece, which is pretty significant as well. So yeah, really strong. And then when you double on, let's talk about some of the other elements of the list that Tubbs put together to take out the tournament. It's in Calibron. So you get a command ability that gives you a free teleport, right? Really, really good. Yeah, that's amazing. So he's got the ability to teleport that unit if he wants to, or teleport Morathi back in range of that wholly within 24 inches. So it's really good. And thanks, Tubbs has done the maths. It's said 60 shots is 28 wounds versus a 4-up save, which is pretty significant. Like, it really is. Your Mortek Guard with that 4-up save, Owen. If they're in Petrifex, they're rerolling 1, so that changes the math a little bit.
No, only in the melee, only in the combat phase, mate. We don't get.
Wow, so you're going to lose. So you're going to lose 28 Mortek unless they're near a hero, right?
Well, I mean, I played in a little tournament on the Saturday night for some reason. Saturday day through night was quite, and I faced a chap who I thought it was going to be a fun event, but anyway, I faced 20 stalkers, and it's literally just point. I mean, it's point and click. It's like, I want that to die, that's dead. Next turn, I want that to die, that's dead. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a level of efficiency to it that you can not guarantee, but you can, like much like Tubbs has done. He's done the maths and he can go, okay, that's the prevalent threat, I'll just pick that off. That's the prevalent threat, I'll pick that off. Also, what you can't underestimate is the fact that the other two elements of range damage that you get by taking that combo, which is Morathi Kane's War Scroll spell, so Black Power of Ulgu or something, I believe it's called, 36-inch range, Rob, with the potential for D6 mortal wounds on a 4-up. And then Morathi's, the Shadow Queen's own shooting attack, which is 18-inch range. Again, I believe it's rend 3 D6 damage, 2s and 2s. And with a 14-inch move, that's got a 32-inch threat range. So he's got 32, 36, 24, and 32 again. And then there's all of the other little elements. So you can pick up support heroes, but also you can punk like a hammer unit with that. Like you described, my Mortek Guard. You just rain down shots on them. 60 shots on them, plus the mortals. And then you've got your combat beast to go in and clear up shop. The thing in the Shadow Queen, the thing I like about the list is the MSU elements outside of that one big combo.
Well, so that's interesting, right? That combination is 1,000 points. Yeah, it's 420. Well, it's more than 1,000 points. It's 420 for the Bloodstalkers, and then Morathi Kane is 600. So it's 1,020 points. And you think, cool, I still need my battle line. That's going to be something. Although Bloodstalkers are battle line, if you've got a Bloodwrack Shrine as a general, so still need my battle line. But I've got 1,000 points for battle line and for punchy units to put in my list. Like that combo we talked about works. Done. It's part of the game. It's part of that 2,000 points. What do you want to add? And in this version, because I think we're going to see that like plug and play option, like plugged into a various. But Tubbs has done something quite interesting. Instead of going for like a block of 30 Witch Elves for another kind of punchy unit, yeah, or whatever. He's gone for a bunch of utility pieces to make sure he can control the board, and also so that he can engage in units on... He can engage on objectives, and also just kind of threaten his opponent. And I think that's what's really interesting. So he's got a Bloodwrack Shrine in there. We're going to come back to that little pin. He's got a Hag Queen, so he's got an Artifact Whisper of Death, which is just 6s to hit, going to cause a mortal wound. But then he's got Catechism of Murder, so that's exploding 6s to hit, which is really point. That doesn't work on shooting, that only works on combat. Works really nicely on the Bloodwrack Shrine, or of course Morathi, yeah, or the Witch Elves. Morathi herself has got Mind Razor, the spell, cast on the 8, that's really good. Obviously, that's going to add some amazing damage. And we'll talk about where you can stack both of those two buffs. So on the charge, you're going to have +1 rend and +1 damage. And that's going to work super well. There's 2 units of Witch Elves, which I don't think really need to talk much about. He's decided not to turn them into 30s. Instead, they're 2 10s as screening units. They're fine. You know, they're pretty good for 100 points. You're not going to argue at those. But he's got 2 units of Shadow Stalkers and also 2 units of Life Takers. And the 2 units of Life Takers are incredible. They can start off the board. So you've got that, I'll keep you honest, I've got some deep strikers. The Shadow Stalkers can obviously teleport as well. There's also Mirror Pool, and there's also the Calibron teleport ability. So there's loads of that. But if we kind of cycle back a little bit, the Life Takers, when they charge, they get +1 rend and they get +1 damage. So if you stick Catechism of Murder on them, and you stick Mind Razor on them, you've got an 80-point unit that can go through a lot of stuff. Like they're damage 3, rend 2 on the charge, with exploding 6s to hit. They are so good. And what I really like about that is if you watch Tubbs playing that last game, he kind of played as a castle, and he's like, right, 5 birds, buff them up, off I go. Yeah, That's what I'm going to do. And that an 80-point unit, I think you said on the game, on the last game, it was like, he can just use these and throw them away. And maybe sometimes could be a bit cavalier with just throwing them away, because it's 80 points. He hasn't lost a lot of opportunity in those 80 points, right? It's so good. And then he obviously can also do that Catechism and also Mind Razor and stick that onto the Shadow Stalkers as well. So he's got these little units that he can buff to high heaven and then just send them off. But they are also integral to how the rest of the army works, right? What do you think about those?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes to the overall point about the book. Smorgan in the chat saying DOK is such a great book, an absolute stack of viable builds that don't have either of these units. And he's right. I think... there's so much in the book that is fantastic for list writers, because, okay, we've talked about how good that Morathi Kane command ability is. So what you need to use command abilities, you need CP. So there's a number of really viable battalions which wrap up the sorts of units you want to take, and then give you the CP that's going to, fuel that engine. So, for example, you do see the Viperic Guard, so less screens and all snakes. That's viable. You see, Cauldron Guard. He's obviously got MSU to fill out that Cauldron Guard battalion, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's the 2 units of Witch Elves, the 2 units of Life Takers, and the Hag Queen there. So they've got the kind of complete package. They've got ways of, they've got good battalions that allow them to feed the shooting fighting engine with the kind of units that you want to take. And yeah, there's lots of moving parts. You can't underestimate the fact that the 2 units of 9 Shadow Stalkers constantly, if they're tagged, just pick them up and use them as a screen elsewhere, or throw them across the board. He's got 2 off the boards. He's got 2 innate teleports from their War Scroll. He's got a teleport from the CP. He's got Mirror Dance to teleport 2 heroes. And then effectively the Shadow Queen doesn't teleport per se, but she moves 14 inches and is a beast, and it doesn't matter if you put her out there and dangle her out there and she fails to charge, because she can only take 3 wounds. So yeah, it's got laser.
She's the daughter of Kane equivalent of a dick pic in a DM. You just throw it out there and you're like, there's probably almost no consequence for this. Like, again, obviously never advocating for that. It's a light-hearted joke. Yeah, it was a light-hearted joke. Obviously, that's a terrible thing to do, but it's referential to things that we all find funny. And if you're offended, obviously jump into the sea, and swim to safety, to somewhere else that I don't like. But git picks are super fine. But yeah, you can just stick her in the middle and just be like, "What the hell's going on?" Like I will hit. Like, you can say to your opponent, "Hit me with everything your entire army has," and it lives. I think that's probably more of an issue, because I think Thanks, T-Mac Cash. I think one of the things that was being said earlier, I don't know if it was by Semp the Great or someone in the chat earlier, so big shout out to you, said, you can't even delete the synergy. If I can't get to the snakes, and they've got a 24-inch shooting attack, but then an 8-inch move, so 36-inch threat range, so probably I can't get to them anyway, unless I fucking throw a smash bat at them. That'll get them. Yeah, that'll get them, Owen. You fucking know. Yeah, always smash bat. You can't get them, but you also can't reduce the synergy. You can't take it out. You can't stop the command ability existing for at least 2 turns, which is, like, you just can't turn it off. Now, I saw someone in the chat say also that the only reason I take the Luminous spell that doubles your CP usage, the only reason I take that is because
they're a horrible person? Sorry, whoever that was, I don't mean that. But it's because they what as a direct counter to.
Oh no, I've lost Owen and maybe the whole chat. Oh no, internetexplorer.com. We're back, Owen.
My internet died.
I think my internet has died. Oh no, wait, maybe we're still here. We're good. Hopefully it didn't.
I'm here. I'm good.
All right, let's go. What were you saying? Sorry.
I don't know. I made a silly joke based on wordplay. Probably that was probably it.
Damn it! We missed an Owen Byrne. Damn it! But yeah, this book works super well. Owen, you were talking about this on Saturday when we were doing the coverage. The Bloodwrack Shrine, right? 160 points. Tell me about what it does, or tell me what it doesn't do. That's the real question.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny actually. Again, Smorgan in the chat, I managed to catch up with one of his shows where he does a direct comparison between, and in a very elegant way, between the Shard Speaker and the Bloodwrack Shrine. I made reference to the Lord of Pain, but yeah, the Shard Speaker is probably a better direct comparison. But yeah, 12 wounds, 5 up saves, does.
We're back, Owen. Sorry. Start again. The Bloodwrack Shrine. Please tell me about it.
Yes. Well, I mean, what doesn't it have? We can probably start there, to be honest with you. It's got a nice fast move. It's got 12 wounds on a 5-up save. It has 4 attack profiles. It does D3 mortal wounds on the charge. It's got an excellent spell. I think the Withering spell is... it's cast on a 5, -1 to wound until your next hero phase.
It's been so good for so long, right? I was thinking that I remember when it used to be a major issue, okay.
Oh, I think we're back.
We are back. Okay, podcast bros, don't worry. We got this. One more time, Owen. What doesn't the Bloodwrack Shrine have?
I love the way that this war scroll is so busted for its points that it's breaking the internet as we speak.
just doesn't want to seem to deal with it. Yeah.
No.
Okay, we're back. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. And if you are listening to this back as a podcast and also on YouTube, this is going to be a clusterfuck of a segue. So apologies a load. Thanks, Owen. Thank you for your patience. We were talking about the Bloodwrack Shrine. For the final time. The Bloodwrack Shrine, what doesn't it do?
I think because GW are effectively looking to compromise the show and sort of sending some rats into the wiring, the Bloodwrack Shrine is fine. It's a perfectly pointed and balanced war scroll that is totally in line with all other heroes of a similar points value, and should not in any way be the focus of any player's ire or resentment in the Warhammer community.
Owen, blink if Games Workshop could see you. Right. Whoops. Yeah, okay.
It's great. If you want to go and check out the War Scroll, it's wonderful. Outside of all the other things it gets from the book in general, it's a wonderful War Scroll for 160 points. Impact hits, good spell, 4 melee profiles, does mortal wounds in the shooting phase. I believe it does mortal wounds in the hero phase. Makes Snake's battle line, can take an excellent spell. Just generally a wonderful piece, and popping up everywhere. That Medusa is.
Yeah, it is. Loads and loads. Like, so effective. Also take the command trait, so it's -1 to hit. Thanks to Gordon Cabbage for donating £6 to the show. That's lovely of you. Massive appreciation there. Yeah, also, shoot and attack, mortal wounds, loads, 160 points. Like, 11 wounds? Is it 11 wounds? Like, it might be 12 wounds. 11 or 12 wounds. It's crazy for 160 points, the amount of value that you get. 2 unbinds for 160 points. Boston Power a bit into that. So yeah, like I got to really give Alex. This is the list we're talking about, his props, because I think what he did was he took. It would be very easy to see that combination of the Stalkers and Morathi, pile them together and think, do you know what? I want more juice. Yeah, he's like, I've turned it up to 11, let's turn it up to 15, and give himself like another hammer unit that he could spend a CP on, or another, like, do you know what I mean? Loads of different options, but instead he's gone, no, I want to control the board space, I want to create these little mobile missiles, I want board control, I want these like more delicate units, because yeah, it's 160 points for 2 units of the Harpies, but then it's another 200 points for the Shadow Stonkers, so like, he's now pushing into like a quarter of his army is just really utility inside of a battalion, so there really is only 2 major threats and then utility in the army. I think it's fascinating. Great list. And I think you're going to see loads of those sorts of combos in the future. Right, Owen?
Yeah, one last thing I'd like to just put a pin in as well. Just in terms of, it's very hard. You made reference to the fact that it's very hard to stop that hero phase activation for the Stalkers. Similarly, I mean, all death armies are looking a bit grumpily because they've effectively got a 6-up death save, but it's not incumbent on having any heroes in range. So just that little thing like that, you smash out some good 6-ups and you save your key little hero or whatever. And I just think the fact that it doesn't need to be near a hero, I know that's always been the way. And we haven't even talked about the blood rights table, Rob. So that way of as the game goes on and on and on and on and on, then those units become better and better because they're re-rolling their ones to charge, to hit, to wound. Great. It's a great book, and Alex has gleaned an excellent list from here. And I really like the way that he's not lent into having too many like big hammers. I really do like to see those little units bouncing around, screening off and protecting his Stalkers, much like we saw in that final game, right, Rob? That was he played it perfectly, I think, utilizing all of his assets.
100%. Yeah, I think he played a great game, and obviously like beat a whole bunch of players like to get there. So congratulations to Alex on that. I think he should be super chuffed. And I think for all of us, like we should be scared of that DOK play and those different lists as time goes on. So that was everything from the Grand Hammer finals this weekend. Then after that, for some reason, Owen, there was more Warhammer, right?
Yeah, there was Pask put on a cheeky little event that started at midnight in UK time. So there was a sort of a brave band. I think there's about a dozen of us that played. I have to admit, I didn't make my way all the way through the tournament because, it was a long old day. And I took Sylvaneth, so it was obviously just, a path to pure disappointment and salt. That was the thing. But I took a unit of 30 tree rats, Rob. It was cool. They did nothing. 420. That was my 420 point unit that did nothing. Anyway, but no, it's a fun little event. We played Total Commitment, Forcing the Hand, and Focal Points. And our man Ridge from Season of War. He's put down the Skaven and the Seraphon, and he's picked up a proper army. Well, no, Skaven's a great army. He's put down the Seraphon, he's picked up a proper army, so he's playing Big War, and he was the only player to go 3-0 with a nice Big War list. So, props to Ridge, playing a Destruction army. So we can have a little cheeky look at that list if you like. I mean, sure. It's not... he hasn't gone... Is it Iron Fist or Ard Fist that we see a lot of? I think it's the Iron Fist. Yeah, so this is an Ard Fist list. So he's got a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, Metal Ripper's Claw, and Brutish Cunning. So and he's a Weird Un. So he's got the 3 Rend, he's got the Spell Ignore, and also I believe Brutish Cunning allows him to use Mighty Destroyers for free, perhaps. And then he's got a Weird Knob Shaman with the Teleport spell, 2 War Chanters, Get and Beat, Fix and Beat, so you've got a heal and a 3d6 charge, 2 Wardocks with Breath of Morka, and Cunning Beast Spirits, and then 30 Savage Oryx with stickers, 2 10s of Ard Boys, a 5 of Ard Boys, Ard Fist, Palisade, and a CP.
Cheeky Palisade, nice.
Yeah, probably just looking after those little heroes at the back of the board, I suppose.
Yeah, really nice.
But yeah, solid list. 25 Ard Boys, 30 Savage Oryx, heroes, and then a Mega Boss or Maw Crusher as the big bully.
Yeah, I think it's so nice having that linchpin 30 Savage Oryx because they're never doing the output as we saw at the weekend. But the Ard Boys are going to do the heavy lifting, as you said, along with the Mega Boss, and then the Savage Oryx are just there. But it's a lot of just there. It's like Pink Horrors, just there, but it's a lot of just there, right? So yeah, great list. Okay, really like that. That's cool. So that was Ridge. Also, congratulations to Ridge. Then we've still got an ongoing tournament, unfortunately.
Shut up, Rob. Yeah. You've been saying that you need to play more Warhammer, Rob. So this is a good opportunity to play some Slaanesh. So yes, this is the Honest Wargamer, Honest Ass-Kicking Inter-Show co-host Throwdown Showdown. I'm going to start calling it Honest Ass-Kicking Tournament from now on, Rob. Is that okay with you?
That's fine. That's fine.
So
we've got some updates because since last week we've had some games, right?
We have had some games. So this is Colonel Cabbage and Pete are the TOs. We are playing the Relocation Orb. So just to catch people up on the showdown, effectively, James, using the best god, he ran out with his Bloodthirsters, Baleful Lord's Bloodthirsters into Nikos's Nurgle and got a win for my team, or our team. So that's great. Bud, with that Ogre's list, with all the Thunder Tusks, he beat Dan Stormcast.
Which I feel like I get that he beat him, but Dan also wanted all of his Liberators to die, so it was more of he threw them into the mix of a situation. Like he was like, I murder all of my Storm, like was gleefully laughing as his Liberators were dying. So, yeah. But we'll hear from Dan later about that.
And Semp the Great says, are you streaming the games? And it's like, well, we could do, but I don't think you'd learn anything about Warhammer from watching the games.
Nothing. You'd mainly hear people trying to solve tech issues is what you would mainly hear. Yeah.
So, Rob, you and I, we have to get our game done, don't we? Otherwise, we're going to have our balls cut off by Cabbage, which sounds, times, eh?
Yeah. So we've got me and Owen. I've got my Slaanesh versus Owen's Beasts of Chaos. So that game is happening today at some point. So we'll let you know how that goes. We're both thrilled to be playing Relocation Orb with two armies we hate. Can't wait. It's going to be an adventure. Upcoming events, though. This is where it gets really exciting. This weekend, 2-day coverage of Hammer Time 8 TTS event. There are 102 players signed up so far. Which looks very, very exciting. So our first 100-person event for TTS, Owen?
First, 100-person sort of 2-dayer. They've got 100 people for these sort of long-form team tournaments, but as a singles event, I don't think there's been 100 players yet. So that's pretty cool. The pack's out. I am conscious that we often talk about these tournaments and stuff, and I did want to give players the opportunity if they wanted to play in some TTS tournaments or just wanted to play some TTS games. I'm just going to put a link in the chat, and we're also going to put this in the show notes if I can get it all to work. So yeah, I'm going to put in come on. Sorry, Rob, this is great telly, isn't it?
It's okay.
Okay, that won't work for some reason. There we go. So there's Hammer Time, AOS Coach, and the Butcher's Buffet Discord channels there. Those links will work. So if people do want to join any of those and play some TTS, that's the best places to play it on the internet. And so Hammer Time this weekend. It's going to be a big one, right, Rob? We've got 5 rounds. So we're playing Star Strike, Scorched Earth, Battle for the Pass, Shifting Objectives, and Total Conquest. Those are the missions, and you and a bevy of commentators will be covering, right?
Yeah, covering the event this weekend. Going to be very exciting. Looking forward to that. I hope it's as exciting as this weekend. This weekend was such a laugh. We had a great time, really great matches. So hoping to see more of that. A new Lumineth allowed yet? Is that a thing?
No, I'm saying you don't get to. Lists are in on Wednesday night. And unless we get an FAQ today, then people won't be able to play the new Broken Realms, Techless War Scrolls, and Lumineth. I'm afraid, just because there's some big FAQ stuff, especially on the Lumineth side, right?
It's almost like that's exactly the correct decision. And even though you don't have to build and paint your models, we should always wait till all FAQs are done before you play with the army. Correct, Owen. I'm in 100%. Yeah. So that's good. That's fun. So looking forward to that. And I think that's.
We also don't have to look. We don't have to watch a load of players figuring out what the hell these kangaroo riders are doing in front of them, like flicking them the V's and winning the game. It's like, yeah, we're going to see some proper combat. Things are going to kill things. Yeah, so it should be fun. And again, it's an opportunity for people to meet other people around the world, play Warhammer. We get to learn. We can see what the top armies and the top lists are. And it almost feels like we're getting towards a swan song here for AOS 2, Rob, doesn't it? Because
well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of we skipped over the news. We'll talk about it more in the future. But Broken Realm Be'lakor on pre-order this weekend. You're not missing like they're not. They're like, we're hitting that July deadline by hook or by crook. Yeah, so I don't imagine it'll be more than another 4 weeks until we get the Kragnos, and then it'll be the. Oh, by the way, we might be doing a new edition. I don't know if you cottoned on. So I think, yeah, you're right. So it kind of feels like the swan song of the edition, but it's kind of an exciting swan song instead of it just kind of being like the same old, same old. There's nice new additions. Idneth, obviously, a huge tick up. Daughters of Kane, huge tick up. Nurgle, they've got some play now. Wonder if we'll see some Nurgle lists this weekend. I'll be very excited to see some Sloppy Barpiper play, music and in the game. So yeah, I still there's a lot more. Right now, we're in an exciting stage of list writing and putting lists out there into the world. So I'll be excited to see what armies we pick up. We've gone through we're not seeing a load of Knights of the Empty Throne, Playtouch Warband lists anymore. I mean, we might see a couple, but we're not seeing as many. I think we've done as many Archaeons in Tzeentch as we possibly could ever see. So I think that there's a lot of list writing and a lot of cool armies out there that could still make it onto the tabletop. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what people come up with lists. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Malky's saying new Nurgle isn't legal for the weekend.
Oh, that's not legal.
No.
Oh yeah.
But only with the FAQ. If we get the FAQ, then they can. But I actually do think that Nurgle has been in a pretty good spot for a while. I'm not even just Blight King spam. So people who are saying, "Oh, I can finally get my Nurgle back out again." I know some players who've been getting really good 4-1 results with all sorts of Nurgle lists, like Munificent Wanderers. That sub-allegiance ability in combination with Sloppity and Spoil Pox Scrivener is going to be horrible to play. That's it's going to be rough. Yeah, that's my point. I don't think Nurgle was in a terrible place even before. It just wasn't an obvious because they got banned from the Fat Middle, if you remember, Rob. Nurgle did.
They do. Yeah. They've been doing really well generally competitively. Looking forward to looking at the stats for them next week. Okay, so that's Hammer Time. You can still sign up. There's still some places available if you guys want to sign up and get part of this huge fun event over the weekend. Then there's another Butcher's event coming up.
Yeah, man. Pask is just smashing these out. He's gone for the Butcher's Charcuterie this weekend, or the smorgasbord, the mixed platter, the Ploughman's. So I think that there's still some development of the pack. But this is a 6-week singles event. So what we have is 6 games over 6 weeks. So I think probably Pasca's thought that the last tribe event ran for too long, perhaps. So he's shortened down the format. And it's an interesting one, Rob. I got to send you the pack, but yeah, there's no more than 3 of the same non-battle line war scroll in total across all 3 armies. So you write 3 lists, Rob. And then they have to be within the same book, but then there isn't allowed to be any duplications and things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting pack, and if you did want to jump on board with that, then there's going to be the links that I put in the chat earlier will allow you to get into that Butcher's Discord and get a bit more information. But yeah, it's a sideboard style event with multiple lists all coming from the same book, and then you choose which list to play each round. So it sounds interesting, right? He's always trying to do something different. So good on him.
Agreed. I mean, it was going to touch.
Starts in about a month.
Yeah, I was going to touch on to kind of a grander conversation about like events as a kind of wholesale, but I'm not 100% certain we've got time now, so maybe we'll just put a pin in it for next time. I guess like the thing I was talking about quickly, I'll ask you, Owen, 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. starts at your an event for yourself in real life. In real life, how are you feeling? Does it depend how close it is to your house?
Probably yes. There's got to be an element of that. Yeah. I think I can see as a balanced individual. I try to be balanced. I can see the arguments on both sides, Rob, because people say I did see an argument on Twitter last night, which kind of struck a chord with me for the 9 a.m. crew. I haven't given you an answer yet, have I, Rob? So I'm going to hold back on that. But yeah, the 9 a.m. crew are effectively. If you've got family and kids and stuff like that, the ability to get home and be able to put the kids to bed and stuff like that and help with the tea is that does benefit future tournament going for dads and mums who want to play Warhammer and also have a relationship. So I can see that on the 9 a.m. side. Also, it benefits those morning people, Rob, doesn't it? The 9 a.m. If you're that 6 a.m. early riser, sort of cup of coffee on the train, commuting into your office at like 6:45 or whatever, then the 9 a.m. start is brilliant because you want to get in before the coffee wears off or before that early morning advantage is lost. But then 10 a.m. is good for the people who like to have a drink and play at Warhammer tournaments, or who are generally like to have a lie-in. So I think, although saying that, Nathan at Brotherhood, I think that he could have had a 1 p.m. in the afternoon start time for round one, and he would have still been in a similar state, because 90% alcohol at that point, I think.
I also there's also a conversation about round times. Conversation about break times in between rounds. Do you just want an hour between each round? Just put your feet up, kick back, relax, and chill. I think that's kind of the conversation at the moment, right? Like lots of events, lots of TOs, lots of new TOs. Like that's happened on TTS, and I think there's some really healthy conversation about loads of that over the next year or so. New edition, new rules, new everything. Like it's all kind of like a fresh start for us, which means. Like if you're creating some events locally or you're doing something locally, it's a great opportunity for you guys to kind of like break the mold and set the trend for something that might be the only reason I ever asked the question was I was like I always see something that's like, well, this is how we do it, and I'm like, well, why? What's your purpose? And there wasn't really much justification. The vote is currently like at 500 votes, and it's split pretty much like 50-50. It's like 49-51 or something. So the split's down, which means that like. While for everyone who's like 9 a.m., like that's what we do, there's 50% of the people who are like, well, what about 10 a.m.? So like and I'm not saying split the difference. I'm saying we could attack a load of things like at round times being a bit longer was something you suggested, right?
Yeah, I would say I would rather have 3 hours, which are then hard enforced, to stop at that point. Not dice down necessarily, but. At that point, you need to resolve the game as if it went 5 turns. I think 3 hour rounds, they started doing that at Warhammer World in the heats, I think, at the end. Mm-hmm. I think 3 hours is a nice amount of time. That will account for a toilet break or a toilet trip or a nip to the bar or having a really good conversation about your lists at the start of the game for 10 minutes. That will benefit the game greatly, rather than getting halfway through the game and then being like, oh shit, I didn't know your stuff could do that, so I'm annoyed now because my army's dead. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But yeah, I think my personal thing is I would go. I would probably, if I was to put on a real life tournament next week, I'm going to start at 9:30, Rob, just so I can sit on the fence. I hope you appreciate it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I
thought you said you wanted to start at 7 a.m, so I was a sassy bitch for 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true, actually. Rob's commentary when he's not quite awake yet. Some of the shit from game one at the weekend was pure class. So no, we go 9:30 to 12:30 round 1, 1 hour break, 12:30 to 1:30, and then another 3-hour round till 3:30. Half an hour break in the afternoon, Rob. I don't think you need an hour in the afternoon. You just got to keep that rolling. So then that would be game 3 finishing at 7 p.m.
Yeah. Someone suggested 15-minute break in the afternoon, which I didn't hate. Like, I was like, crack on, let's go. But yeah, I think there's JP. I've got my Lumineth hero phase down to 45 minutes, so 3 hours is preferable.
Yeah, because in a Lumineth game, only they get to play the game anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter how long it is, as long as they get to all this shit.
Gotta really congratulate JP for doing so well at getting it so quick. If I'm honest.
I wonder if is he factoring in the procrastination phase, which happens before the hero phase. Maybe he hasn't factored in this 1 hour procrastination phase.
I think you need 15 minutes to look at the enemies list, in my opinion. I agree with that, absolutely. I think also, go on, I mean, what you got to say?
All I was going to say is I think one thing I would state, because I have had my pants pulled down on a few games, is if your opponent hasn't got a printed list, I think that's a massive no-no. I think going forward, everyone should have a printed list to give their opponent at the start of the game, and then you can have it in front of you. You can do some little notes. Printed lists are the way.
I disagree with that fundamentally. I think have a bit of pen and paper for yourself, but requiring me to own a printer that's a bigger no-no. You literally are a printing specialist. You're a bit biased in this situation. You printed everything.
Okay, yeah? Rob. Well,
yeah?
I'll send you a picture of it, but I ran out of toner on my printer before Blackout a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So I hand wrote out 6 lists the night before.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, that's fine. But as long as it's not a printed list, yeah, I'm
just going okay, my army does this, and then holding the phone in front of your opponent and then giving them back to it. That's I've forgotten about a once per game artifact. 3D print your lists, Ron. Yeah, like a diorama that you set up.
And I want people to wheel in whiteboards. That's what a Lumineth player's going to have to do. Wheel in a whiteboard. He's like, okay, this is how it works. I'm going to do this spell, maybe. Yeah, write it on. That would be super good. Personal printers are fossils. Rob Kelly, we agree.
Von Smallhausen in the chat. That's a really interesting. Maybe we could do a little show on that, Rob. He's put, to help out new players how to avoid gotcha moments. How about some key explain points before each game? E.g., can you teleport? Can you summon?
I'd love to do that. That's a great.
How about we do a show with the top 20 questions to ask your opponent before each game?
Yeah, deal.
Yeah, that's solid. Because it will create a much better game, and everyone will have a good time if you do understand what your stuff can do, your opponent's stuff can do.
Ask your opponent. We should get these done. We should get this show done pretty quick because all the other people who watch us who then rip off our ideas will be straight on that. So we'll get that done sooner rather than later. Is the point? Really help with getting back in this year. We could do that. That's absolutely doable. So we'll do that in a moment. Okay. All right. Well, let's head out today. It's been a really fun time. Next week, we're going to look at some stats and we'll talk about a bunch of other stuff. Owen, thank you for helping me get through the internet issues and being a wonderful person. I hope you're well. Looking forward to Hammer Time 8 this weekend. Yeah,
me too, man. And just a final call out. Regardless of your level of the game, if you know your army reasonably well and you can give somebody a good game and get it wrapped up in 3 hours, then by all means come along because it's a great community, wonderful people. You'll learn some stuff, have some fun. So please get involved if you'd like to play some Warhammer on TTS.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks everyone for tuning in live. Sorry about the internet issues. Not really sure what was going on there. So I appreciate all of you for putting up with us and it. I hope you guys who listen to the podcast feel good and are happy. And thanks for everyone for a Patreon, of course, everyone who watches live. Owen, we're going to raid someone as per. Who do you want us to raid? What are you thinking? Hobby Warhammer person, or do you want to get really weird?
No, Warhammer person with under 50 viewers, please.
Okay, I've got what looks to be a talk show between 5 dudes called It's Wobbly Player Syndrome episode.
Looks great. Yeah, let's go there.
That was Red Belly. Let's go do that. We've got 4 people watching, so let's get involved in this. Oh, thanks to Steve F for donating 10 quid to the show. That's very much appreciated. I don't know what that's for, but that's really, really Really, really appreciated. So we'll go do this. That's really nice of you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing or tuning in or any of that. You're all great people. Poof, we're going to go do that. Everyone look after yourselves. Have a nice day.